Are you planning to walk the Camino with your partner? That's great. Most of the time. Coming right up. So I think someone recently asked me on the channel, it was either I'm thinking of walking alone, but my wife wants to come. Is it different walking with your wife? I'm going to get so in trouble on this video. It's very different, very different. So whether you're walking with a life partner, a very good friend, I'd say a lot of this would apply. Think carefully. And look, I'm reflecting on my relationship with my wife Pat and how we get on Camino. Your relationship with your partner is going to be totally different. So take this with a pinch of salt. If there's anything here that makes you think, well, you know, that's good. You might think it's utter rubbish. I'd love you to comment down below. Have you walked with a partner? Have you walked with a good friend? How was it? In fact, on my last Camino, I walked for about 2 weeks with a married couple. And they live in Sydney and we're still very good friends. And I think they were still married at the end of the Camino. They still are back here in Sydney. And I walked with a couple of American guys who were good friends. And I think they're still good friends at the end of the Camino. So look, it works really well for some people. But let me just raise some potential issues that you might want to have a think about. So first of all, the goals. Why are you walking a Camino, and do you both have similar goals for the Camino? So for Pat and I confess, I think it was 2013 or 2014, we sat back and watched the movie The Way. We both loved it. At the end of it, I said to Pat, I would really love to do that, go and walk that Camino. And she said, yeah, me too. Sadly, over the following year, there was sort of some family health issues, and when it came time to actually go, Pat couldn't come with me, although she insisted that I went. But she did come with me on a couple of subsequent Caminos. What I've learnt, though, over the years, so that was 10 years ago, is that I am utterly passionate about the Camino. I think about it every day. I make these videos, I've got blogs. Pat can kind of take it or leave it. So think about that for a moment. The person you're thinking of walking with, do they have the same level of commitment, passion for the whole thing? And do they have the same expectations as you? So I'm planning to walk with Pat probably next year on a Camino together again. Our last one was in 2018 together. And I'm putting together a hybrid Camino because I'd like for her to have some experience of different types of Caminos, not just the Camino Frances. So the plan at this stage is we're going to walk the Madrid and then a bit of the Sanabres, and then we're going to walk out to Finisterre, because I know that what I like in a Camino is not what Pat likes in a Camino. So for me, as an example, walking for a week or 2 weeks without ever seeing another pilgrim in a very remote area with only albergues to stay in, sometimes not even being able to find somewhere to have a meal, not being able to top up with water all day long, so having to carry all of your water, and a very barren open landscape, rather like the Meseta on the Camino Frances. I'm talking about the Via de la Plata. For me, that was heaven. It's not for Pat. She's happy to try some albergues. She would prefer to have a private room, private bathroom, nothing fancy. She likes to know that she's got a bed at the end of the day. So, you know, we need to be able to book a day ahead. On my last one, I very often didn't book, just turned up. Food for her is an important part of the whole experience. She likes to experience, you know, different food, nice food. You know, on the Via de la Plata, yeah, I mean, I got food. Was some of it memorable? Some. Some wasn't. So you see, it's kind of a different thing. So you need to think about the sort of experience that you want and that your partner or best friend or whoever wants, and is it aligned? Are you compatible? So in a number of different ways. Fitness. So I'm not particularly fit. I'm always a bit overweight and I walk pretty slow, but Pat's even slower than me, and she has bad feet. So I have to plan a joint Camino with that in mind and do shorter distances. And I also need to make sure that I know where we're going to stay, because uncertainty is not her thing. I don't mind it so much. So in terms of fitness, are you compatible? In terms of the sort of accommodation that you're going to use, are you compatible? Pat hasn't really stayed in communal dormitories before. Don't tell her, but it's kind of why I've picked the Madrid. It's to ease her into it. So because on the Madrid, there's a few places where we're going to stay where it's the only option is an albergue, but it's a small one, and it's not going to be like 60 people in a room. You know, there might be one or two others. So I'm kind of sneakily getting her introduced to albergues. So are you compatible with accommodation? Are you compatible with food? If you have particular food requirements, you know, is that going to be a challenge? And then how long do you want to walk? So, I mean, my first one was 800. I then took Pat on a sort of a hybrid one, which was about 200. And after that, she said, yeah, I'm up for 800. And we did 800 together. At the end of that, she said, nah, I don't think I want to do 800 again. It was great. My last one was 1200. She's definitely not going to be up for that. So I think our next one, it'll be probably 3, 4, maybe 500. But with a few breaks, we'll do the Madrid. Then we're going to go down to Salamanca. See, I'm customizing it. Compromising, that's what you've got to do. So we'll do the Madrid a bit. I know that after walking that, she'll want to have a break, and we'll go to Salamanca. I've been there. It's a wonderful city. I know that she'll enjoy it. She'll enjoy all the restaurants and the Plaza Mayor. And then we might go up to Zamora, and then we're going to go to Orense and walk the San Andres. And then we'll be in Santiago, and then we're going to go out to Murcia, and we'll walk Murcia, Finisterre, back to Santiago, because I know she'll enjoy that scenery. She loves seafood. We'll get great seafood. So I don't want this to sound sort of too weird, but it's not my Camino anymore if I'm walking with someone else. You know, and you'd say, but Rob, that's what marriage is about. That's what partnership is about. You have to be considerate. You have to compromise. You have to think of the other person. That's the point I'm making. If you're walking with someone, you have to make sure that you're both going to enjoy it. To take all this, I suppose the easy option is just to go and walk on your own. The flip side of that, but there's a lot more things to think about if you're going to walk with someone else. Another thing to consider would be, what if they want to stop? So I'm very lucky with Pat. She's been on a couple of Caminos. She's walked 1,000 Ks with me. We understand each other's capabilities, our walking speeds. I know she won't have a problem. If we do all the right preparation and look after our feet, I know that she won't have a problem. Hydration, all that kind of stuff. But what if your partner, your best friend, hasn't walked a Camino before? What if you haven't walked a Camino before? What will you do when someone gets injured? What will you do when somebody gets shin splints or tendon issues and the local doctor says you have to stop or you have to rest for 3 days? So think about that. On my first Camino, I actually started injured. You might say it's a bit foolish, but I overtrained. I started the Camino with Achilles tendonitis. I got shin splints along the way, but I'm pig-headed. There was no way I was going to give up. You know, I just ploughed on through, and I went to see doctors and physios, and I got there, and I was down to about 10 Ks a day, I think, towards the end. Pat's not going to do that. You know, your partner's probably not going to do that, your best friend. So you have to think about how to deal with these things. Is one of you really pig-headed like me? Is one going to go, this is all getting too painful, I think I'll stop. I want to have a rest. I want to go home. So think about those sort of things. It's all about compromise. And I suppose to my mind, it doesn't make it a bad Camino. It makes it a very different Camino. Because when I'm walking on my own, I don't have to consider anything. And I don't mean this to sound selfish. It's just that's the freeing nature of the Camino that I love so much. The freedom from making almost any decision. I don't have to decide anything. I can just get up and walk, decide where to stop. If I'm with somebody, I feel a responsibility for them to make sure that they're having a good time, to make sure that they're happy with accommodation, with meals and things like that. It's just my nature, and that kind of creates a different Camino for me. Not a bad one, it's just different. So there we go. Whoever asked the question, is it different walking on your own, or should I walk with my wife? Absolutely walk with your wife. What a fantastic experience to have together. But just appreciate there's a bit more to think through. What will we do in these certain situations? And do you have the same expectations? There you go. Love to hear your comments down below. Have you walked on your own, with a partner, with a best friend? How did it go? I've probably shared this story once before, but on my very first Camino, I don't want to identify them, but I met two very good friends in Saint-Jean, I think it was, or soon after, might have been in Pamplona, who were walking together. And then we kind of got out of sync. And then I met up with one of them about 2 weeks later, and I said, oh, where's the other one? Oh, we're not walking together anymore. I don't know if they're still friends. I hope so. I hope so. And then I met the other one a week later and said, oh, got the same story. They wanted different things out of the Camino. They were enjoying different things, and they decided, we'll walk alone, we'll meet at the end, you know. So think about that too. Could you do that as an option? Anyway, I'm starting to waffle. If you walked with someone on your own, what are the pros and cons? Have you walked with your wife? Did it go really well? Oh, I shouldn't be sharing this, but I will. Pat and I had one horrendous argument in Santo Domingo. Oh dear. I'd like to say we have this kind of Latin relationship, you know, it can get quite fiery. But, you know, I'm British originally, Pat is Thai. And, you know, the cultural differences and language and things like that, it gets interesting at times. But, oh, we had this, as they say in Australia, this big blue in Santo Domingo. And I was thinking, oh no, are we going to end up going home? But we make up quick. So it wasn't that dramatic. It was all over food or a meal or something silly. Yeah, it's a little bit easier walking on your own. I'll stop it there. Thanks for watching. See you next time.